What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Legends Rise, an Elder Scrolls Online podcast, the show where we educate players new and old about the game itself, whether it's how to run dungeons, discussing combat, chatting about crafting, posing information about PvP, gabbing about guilds, babbling about builds, and so much more. I am your host, Marcus Axford, and with me, as always, is my co-host, the beautiful and lovely twice-born Empress of Cyrodiil herself, Lainy Kirkpatrick. How are you doing today, Lainy?
Pretty good. A little tired, but
Are you? I know you're PvPing right now, as you always do. How's that whole Empress thing going?
Oh man.
Are you losing it?
Yes, but not for the reasons you'd think.
Oh, what are those reasons?
Well, I don't know. I think being Emp comes with a lot of drama. I didn't, stick it out before. But I think we'll touch on that in a later episode, because I don't believe anyone deserves to be bullied, even if you disagree with them. So we'll touch on that later.
Yeah, absolutely. It's no secret I want to eventually do an etiquette episode, and I think that's going to also include ESO scams and bullying. There's a lot of toxicity out there, but regardless, we still have an amazing community, thank God. And we do have a guest today, another person from your clan, Lainy. Quintus, how are you doing today?
Bark. Wait, are we role-playing? Hi.
Quentin Tarantino, how you doing today?
Oh my God.
Oh no, oh God, did you think you scheduled Quentin Tarantino? Oh God, I have such disappointing news for you. I'm just a nerd that plays a werewolf in ESO.
and
just werewolves, right?
Mostly just werewolves.
What else do you play, Quinn?
Nothing, just werewolves. Definitely no vampires in my entire character list.
Oof.
Okay.
Mixing the bloodlines,
you wouldn't
huh?
wanna... Ooh. I'm more of a hybrid since I played both, proudly.
You guys ever watch Underworld? That was a good movie.
I never watched any of the Underworld movies. And what's funny is I've never cared about vampires or werewolves my whole life. And until ESO, for some reason, I enjoy werewolf play style. So now I'm known as the wolf guy. I've never once in my life cared about wolves.
Yeah, I get that. Werewolves are a lot of fun to play. And spoiler alert, you're going to be back in October with us for the werewolf episode, I believe.
Oh, excellent! Yeah, I think Adexi was mentioning that. And that's the one we're going to role play on, right? Really heavily. Just being in character the whole time.
I'm gonna be a werewolf with a sea shanty voice. Here, I'm a wolf. I shit in the woods.
Yeah, little known fact: werewolves don't shit. And they actually reproduce by biting. It's a whole weird thing.
Yeah.
Laney's like, why? Why?
No, actually, we had a whole conversation in one of the guilds I'm in, which is a werewolf guild that I know Quinn's from. And Quinn bought one of my tunes, and I accidentally saved over a build that wasn't a werewolf on that. So our friend Akka had to rebite me. So now Quinn and Akka had some power struggle, because I guess whoever you bite, you belong to that person.
Oh no!
I guess that's the rules. Yeah. So Akka said he was feeling pretty dominant, but Quinn wasn't really on. So I don't know if they're gonna fight over me. I kind of hope they do.
Biting's how you establish dominance over somebody. That applies to real life, not just ESO kids. And you can.
I was gonna say, the ESO community is a little erotic too.
A little bit.
I've seen shit, and I bet you can guess where I've seen it at. Riften.
Look, we're all every nerd community is closeted somewhere.
But
and I recently found out that Quinn was not a real werewolf in real life, and it just kind of ruined my whole day.
Oh, sad. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to talk about our fetishes. We're
family friendly.
It's supposed to be. It's
supposed
to be. As the show goes on, it just gets looser and looser with its morals.
It gets less family friendly every time.
So this is our very casual first ever junk drawer episode, and a lot of people might be thinking, what does that mean exactly? Well, we're kind of taking the little bits and bobs of information that we may have missed out in past episodes, since we're pretty far along now into the show, and or thinking about things that, like, it's not really going to cross over in a major way in any other episode in the future, as far as I know, like treasure maps and whatnot. So we're going to be covering that kind of stuff as well. So before we do that, I do have a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I plan to update the thumbnails for the show. I actually want to do the same thumbnails for the shows I do for the YouTube stuff. I just think it would look better. Everybody can look at the episode. You see the title, sure, but you can also see all the cool individual thumbnails that also have the name on them. So because I was talking to Tom from Robots Radio about marketing stuff, and he was kind of giving me a couple of tips on how to improve things a little bit. And one of the things also was, he's like, consider, not do it, but he's like, you could consider tweaking the title of the show a little bit to kind of reflect you guys teaching about the game. So I know, Lainy, I talked with you a little bit about the name I had in mind. It's only one word longer, by the way, and that was hey, Legends.
I already thought the current name was too long, but
That's true, but to be fair, Elder Scrolls Online is 3 fairly decent sized words. So, but
it's true. We've always been more considered as just Legends Rise.
Yeah, we have. It's just nice to, for people to... also, I believe the algorithm sees that. So if somebody's, typing in guide to ESO or whatever, our name would come up more frequently then. So...
that's fair.
So that was my thing, is I was thinking, what if we did Legends Rise, a guide to Elder Scrolls Online? I could do a guide to ESO, but again, thinking about algorithm stuff, and again, it's only, one word more. So, hey, you all out there, let us know what you think. So that was kind of just what I wanted to do. A couple of show tweaks I've been thinking about. Before we get into the rest of the show, we want to remind you that Legends Rise has an amazing Discord community, and you can find the links for that on our Twitter or Facebook at Legends Rise ESO. We also have an Instagram where we post pics of our adventures, and you can find that at Legends Rise ESO as well. And we're on YouTube at Legends Rise ESO channel. So if you're listening to this through our podcast, you can find the links to all of our stuff in the description, and vice versa if you're watching on YouTube, including a link for the Discord there in the YouTube description. We also have a Legends Rise guild network we are building called the Council of Legends, kind of a fun little thing we're doing. So currently we have Xbox NA and now PCEU. If anybody wants to do, if anybody wants to, hey, I'd like to join, I'm on PCNA or whatever, and I'd love to represent the podcast on that platform, absolutely come talk to us. And PCEU is run by our favorite Brit, Jinjar. So if you're looking to join either of the current existing ones, come see either me or Jinjar on Discord. Our podcast is now added to Bonus Roll Productions, which is this roster of podcasts that you can give ratings and reviews for, kind of like Yelp for podcasting. So check us out, as well as all of our other ESO content creator friends at bonusroll.gg, and give us all the stars and reviews. And also don't forget to rate us on Spotify and give us reviews on Apple Podcasts. It really helps us out. As an aside, we just surpassed 3K total plays in 4 months. It's absolutely insane. So, we also have a Twitch channel. Come check me out at Legends Rise ESO for... I try to do Tribute Tuesdays. I don't know if that's... Well, again, time is weird. So, by the time non-Patreon people are listening to this, Tuesday will have already passed. But I try to do Tribute Tuesdays, but sometimes scheduling doesn't quite allow it. So, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's always random, which I know isn't really conducive for a good streamer, but, follow us, keep an eye out. You might see me, doing like Sea of Thieves or just some other random thing. Right now I'm achievement hunting to try to beat my best friend Kenny, who currently has 100 and I think 8K gamer score, and I have like 92. So I have a long.
Is that through Xbox or just like the regular achievements?
It's my Xbox achievements. So I have a long road ahead of me. And unfortunately, Peppa Pig is next. Oh, the things I do for Gamerscore. Yes, Peppa Pig is on Game Pass. They update the roster of easy 1000 Gamerscore games, and so you just go blow through a game in like, 1 to 3 hours and just get an easy 1000 Gamerscore. And Peppa Pig is one of them. Oh, God. So, finally, if you love listening to us here and want more, you could go to patreon.com/legendsriseeso, and for $5, less than the price of a giant 36-inch inflatable Rhode Island pickle, you can get a lot of cool stuff like shoutouts, ad-free, and early episodes of the show and more. You can help us improve the show, meet our personal goals, and keep the lights on. A big thank you to Stuart Wallace, aka our resident Brit, and Jacob Byers for your contributions to our Patreon page. I was actually just in party with him, and I was talking with Joey Chaos from Lost and Nern, although that might be going by the wayside here soon. Spoiler alert, we are working on a new show together. It's going to be a lot of fun. He's like, I want to do comedy skits that involve like ESO, or just comedy, something that involves ESO. So it's gonna, I don't want to give away too much. It's going to be some improv stuff, some character building. I'm really excited for it. So, but if you are on the Patreon, you do get some behind the scenes stuff into that as well. So, hey, $5, you get a lot of stuff. So, alrighty, with all that out of the way, let's get into it. I imagine our junk drawer stuff is not going to be that long, but I've been wrong before. So,
Did you talk so much?
You know what?
What? What?
Well, do you want to talk?
Not really.
I was going to say, go ahead, say something.
When he comes to a podcast, want to talk? No.
I just want to sit in silence. I mean, the funny thing is I wanted to do a social show, and I still do, where a lot of us, like, Elder Scrolls content creators get together and just kind of shoot the shit, whatever. I want to eventually do the After Quest podcast, so it'd be a lot of fun where we're not, sitting down and necessarily teaching people. We're just sitting down and kind of, everybody can get to know us and all the other content creators. But anyway, so there's a few things we missed, and there's some stuff that I even went through the game and I didn't even know this existed. So you could call this the list for me. What is it? Lainey, you said the list for noobs or myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, not noobs in the bad way, but more of Marcus is learning the game to be better through this.
I am. See, we're all learning something. Again, this game is so ungodly massive. There's all these little things that slip through the cracks, and this is kind of what our junk drawer episodes are going to be for. They're not going to be around that often, so it's just kind of when we've done a large batch of, content, we kind of look back and go, okay, I forgot to say that in an episode, but rather than do the constant updating people right at the head of an episode, I'm just going to be like, you know what, I'm just going to write it down, and we'll toss it away for later. So, first thing, I believe I forgot to bring up quest markers. So the cool thing is they updated quest markers, and I don't remember when, but there's different kinds of quest markers for different things. They all used to be exactly the same. Main quest, dailies, like side quests, whatever, they all used to be the same. Now they changed them up. So the main quest, and this one I believe I mentioned, is this kind of a diamond shape with another, it's very Skyrim-esque with another diamond in the middle or whatever it is. And your average, actually I have the game on right now for that exact purpose. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, the main one is diamond shape, and it's got a littler diamond in the middle of it with another like delta symbol. And then of course the regular Or are you gonna show me what the regular is? The regular is kind of that kind of V shape with a diamond set in it. Now there's the white ones, and then there's the blue ones. So dailies are gonna show up as kind of a light blue. So if you go to your right now I'm in front of the equipment crafting Ritz, and it shows up as a blue marker. And I believe the marker shows up from a fair distance away. To give everybody some context, I'm currently in Mournhold right now by the Wayshrine. So I'm backing up, and I'm gonna go towards the staircase. Okay, there we go. The staircase over towards, going down to where the stables are. So it shows up about at the top of that staircase. So it's a really good, I'd say, maybe 50 to 70 meters, something like that. So dailies show up from a fair distance away, so that way you don't have to be like right on top of them in order to be like, oh, there's a daily here. And of course there's all kinds of dailies. There's there's the equipment crafting Ritz, there's stuff for the arenas, there's stuff for I don't think trials show up as blue daily markers. I think those are just regular quest markers, which is interesting since they're repeatable.
I believe they are, but you can't do the trial quest like multiple times. Like I believe they are blue. Could be wrong because I haven't done trials lately, but I believe they are a blue marker.
Some of those quests are a normal marker until you do them for the first time. Then they become a daily or a week. I think those are weekly that you can do the trials. Yeah,
they are weekly.
Oh, are they? I don't know. I don't regularly do trials. I have done trials, and I know that you can do the quests over and over again. It's just not going to give you the same, like, stupendous rewards as you get the first time. You're not going to get because I believe you get a skill point if you complete the trials the first time.
For the first time.
So, yeah, you're still going to get rewards because you get, style pages and stuff from trials as well, but you're not going to get like all the good first round stuff like the skill points and whatever other like permanent unlockables you have. So, but yeah, that's how you have a little bit of an idea of how to, because I get that like looking at your HUD can be like extremely confusing. Like right now we have companions, so it's like, oh, I have my companion marker on my HUD. I have locations. And also, of course, you have the compass, so it shows your directions. And then you have like a dozen of these damn markers just showing up everywhere. Oh, I will say that if you haven't figured it out by now, the other thing is markers will show up if they're like in a building or in a different location. They will, like, let's see, go up to this cart over here that goes to Blackwood. So the marker on this cart for Blackwood shows up as the main quest icon, the same diamond within a diamond kind of thing. But it also shows up over, like, this doorway type icon. So that'll tell you that a quest or whatever is inside a building or, in a different zone or something like that.
Similar to the Skyrim quest marker if it was like in a cave or something.
Yeah. So, I know questing can get confusing sometimes. You see it on forums all the time. Hey, I'm stuck. Where do I go? And sometimes this stuff is literally right in front of us and we just can't see it. Especially, again, when you're getting all these different quests showing up. You go to new areas and there's quests that you haven't gotten to yet, so yeah, the area is just filled with quest markers. So I believe that's everything for quest markers, at least.
So like on that topic, I'm here to be the PvP guy, but one of the things that helps me tremendously, because I don't PvE very often, is whenever you're in the journal and you're looking at a quest and it has a marker, if you hit, I believe it's M, it will immediately open the map and ping and show you exactly where that marker is in the world.
Yes.
So
actually,
that's actually a very helpful thing to bring up, because sometimes the quest markers get weird and you're not sure where exactly something is. So if you do that, like I know the thing that I think not aggravated me, but I thought was slightly frustrating was, so the new zone, High Isle, if there's a quest on the second island, it doesn't show that. It shows the marker at the harbor on the main island.
Oh, that's weird.
And the same thing happens if you're on the second island. So, yeah, so that's the thing I didn't like about, like, the two islands in there. Because instead of showing the quest marker on the main island if you were on the other one, or the jungle island if you were on the main one, it just would show, like, the harbor or, like, the other town, and I just thought that was annoying.
That's really bizarre. And actually, Quintus, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that is something I forgot to put down in my notes, that, again, it's one of those little things that it's probably not going to be mentioned anywhere ever again. But the journal itself, so I know I've actually probably talked about the journal in our options episode, but there's that thing of, if you look at the top, you can max out how many quests you're holding, which I think is kind of dumb, but unfortunately there is a cap there. So if you are just like overflowing quests and you don't know, like, oh, I want to keep all of them, or like you need to pick one to delete, you just, go to Y, go to abandon the quest. And yeah, there's also show on map. That's actually really helpful. Again, something I actually didn't know existed, which is funny because I'm pretty sure it's always been there. I just never really thought to use it, probably because it's like I've done certain zones so many times, I know where to go there by heart. But yeah, especially with some of this newer content, I keep forgetting to use that option of, like, especially with High Isle. I wish I'd remembered that, because there have been quite a few times where I'm like, where am I going again? Because, like, there'll be, like, oh, meet this person by the wayshrine kind of thing, and it's not a marker, it's the little area, and I'm like, where is this stupid thing? So, but no, yes, I thank you very much for bringing that up. Actually, it's a kind of a good segue. So, wayshrines, I know that I didn't talk about at any point. It's one of those things where I'm like, as soon as we stop recording, I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to mention that. And it's something just really simple. So if you're a new player, you have these things called wayshrines, and there's one in every city. They're dotted throughout the landscape. Basically, they're just fast travel points, and they can be a tiny bit confusing. So it's free to travel between wayshrines, but it costs gold to travel from a non-wayshrine location to a wayshrine. And then there's a capacity. Actually, I'm going to go ahead real quick and travel to Ghost Snake just so I can kind of give you guys an idea. When you're a low-level player, the cost of traveling is really low, but as you level up, that is going to go up. So now I've traveled. Power of the Series X be praised. And and so now my cost to recall is about 600 gold. Mine's going to be different because I might have champion points in wayshrine stuff. I don't remember. But there's ways to reduce your wayshrine costs. I know that we just had the new event recently, Zeals of Zenithar. Is it Zeals or Seals?
Zeals.
Zeals, okay.
It's a ZZ.
Yeah, where we had that really cool, like, reduction cost. So yeah, right now...
That one was nice.
I wish I had participated more, but oh well.
Oh, man.
It'll come back around again. But yeah, now if I want to travel from outside of wayshrining, I now have to pay just a little over 500 gold. So, or generally you're out questing, you're not going to need to, like, wayshrine too quickly. So I would say it takes about 5 minutes for that to go down, so it's not that big of a deal. So the other thing too is houses interact weirdly. I know that we're going to talk about this in the housing episode, so I guess there is a little bit of a crossover with wayshrines, but it's the fact that if I were to, be asked by Zoss, hey, for housing specifically, what's the next function you want to see? And aside from well, I know my wife's would be fishing spots, but I definitely wouldn't mind like being able to buy a way shrine to put into your house, because you can travel to a house for free. You can travel from house to house for free, but it still costs gold to travel from a house to anywhere else, even to another way shrine, which is kind of dumb. Like, if I can travel to the house for free, like, I should be able to port right out. So
yeah, I don't like that. Like, I know there's some houses that have way shrines close to them, but no one wants to run out of their house to a way shrine to save a few hundred gold. Like, I don't like that it costs for you to do that.
yeah, I would very much rather just like pay 5k for, or yeah, 5k crowns for a way shrine to put in my house and save.
Please don't give them that idea.
you know that would be the price of it if they did that.
But you know, so I would like, say it's 1,000 gold for you to port out. Is it really worth saving 1,000 gold to pay 30 or 40 bucks in real money?
Well, there's two things to that though. One, you might be a player like me when it comes to crowns and just, I just save I've never spent money outside of ESO Plus. Every single
crowns don't cost like 1,800 per crown.
What?
That's because your crowns are 100 to 1, not 1,800 to 1.
Well, there's that, but I've never paid real world money to buy crowns. I always save up my crowns from ESO Plus. That's how I've paid for literally everything I have. So you could be like me, where you just save it up, you're waiting for something cool. Oh, cool, this drops, I'm going to buy it, because I generally don't really care about too much that drops in the crown store. The other part to that is it depends on the kind of player you are and how many times you're porting out of your house. So, I mean, if you like you said, you could solve the problem by just sucking it up and having, like, Mornoth Keep, which, by the way, is a really cool house.
I mean, it's very cheap, too. Like, I have it because I think I won it in the trade guild.
Yeah.
And they gave me the gold to buy it, but it's really cheap.
Yes, it is. And whether you're paying it with crowns or you're buying it with gold, it is super cheap. And it's a really nice location. I love it. But I just sadly outgrew it. And plus, I now have Forge Master Falls. So
right, and like my main house is the Erstwhile Sanctuary.
Right. But there is the version of this where you might be that player that constantly like goes to your house for something and ports out, so that gold kind of sort of adds up quickly. Like, even if you're doing it a few times, and like you said, that's still 3,000 gold that I don't really want to get rid of. So, I mean, yeah, you could totally gain that gold back quickly, but it's the thing of I don't really want to. So, yeah, it would suck to have to pay crowns for it, but I'm also looking at kind of the long term in that.
On PC, it would be a real long term. I mean, if you're talking crowns anyway. So you threw the number out there, 5,000 crowns. 5,000 crowns is about 9 million gold on PC right now.
Oh my god.
So how many times do you have to port to break even on your gold investment?
Right, so
for this 5,000 crown Transitus.
Right, I believe crowns are still no more than 200 to 1 on console, correct?
I don't know. I don't touch that.
I know it's still really cheap on console from people I've talked to on console, but take PCNA, for example. You know, like, as Quinn mentioned, that's almost 10 million crowns. And the
Depends
price...
on which console. I'm looking it up. It's between 100 and 200 to 1.
Right. Most consoles tend to stick under 200 to 1 from what I've been hearing. And then you have PC, PCEU, and PCNA. Like you said, 5,000 crowns is almost 10 million gold.
First on the Europe servers. But yeah, no, I was just making that point for PCs in case you didn't know what the ratios would be for a PC player and how much you'd have to port to break even.
A lot.
Yeah, again, I don't think about that. It's one of those things where I forget it exists. I forget that people do it. Because I just never thought to do it. But it might also be because I'm not as social of a player as other people or as invested in things like that. again, big game. There's lots of different things you can invest in. Some people invest in all of it. Some people only invest in, certain things of it. But yeah, I wouldn't even begin to know what the ratio is. I don't even know how to do it, like where I would start. So it's nothing I ever like was interested in doing. Plus, I never ever get. I think I don't even know if I've ever gotten 500,000 before.
I mean, I believe it's also technically easier to make gold on PC and A, or PC just because of the add-ons. But there's still a lot that goes into.
Yeah, like I have stuff that I could probably get 1,000,000 gold for, but it's just a matter of I have to join a guild trader, or I have to go on Facebook and be like, hey, I've got this thing, who wants to buy it, yada yada. It's that thing of like, that is something, and I know a lot of people wish was in this game, was like an auction house or something where I didn't need to join anything. I could just go up to a building, put my item in the roster, and it just gets sold.
Well, Quinn, like,
yes,
you're one of the officers for Scourge. I imagine you know how much Scourge spends on a trader a week.
It's not insignificant. Depending on the week, it's
right.
Quite a bit, yeah.
And I know, like, Merkmeyer is one of the more middling ground trader locations, so, like, the ones in Mournhold, they're going for, like, probably way more.
I don't know for sure, so this is all kind of hyperbole and just things I've heard hearsay, but I've heard that the ones in, like, more go for, like, 50 million a week.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
which is insane.
It's a lot. And when I was playing Lortro, they had an auction house system, and I really loved that system, and I wish it was replicated here. Because think of the amount of money these trading guilds would save. Just not having to bid on those traders.
It's from a developer standpoint, though, it's a gold sink, which is important for keeping an economy down. So it's inherently tied to the economy because it's guild traders. And then you also have the guild sink of, like, if you want to have the best chances of selling things in a capital city, well, you're going to throw lots of money at it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. And Mournhold, I think, is generally considered the hub since all the traders are right around the Wayshrine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It just sucks for, like, introverted players like myself who don't want to necessarily get involved in all that, but I still want to, like, not only make gold, but get rid of all my shit. I have so much that is just sitting around gathering dust.
Yeah.
A lot of style pages, a lot of... actually, you know what? Let me pull up my bank right now. Yeah, I've got... Cadwell style pages, Doctrine Ordinator, Glenmoral weird stuff, Grave Dancer, Imperial Champion. The list keeps going on and on and on. Oh yeah, I have Opal Swarm, Mother Greatsword, Opal Alhambra Shield. I'm sure that's probably a couple 100K. At least it used to be a long time ago. So, like, I have stuff. It's just such a pain to have to be like, all right, join a guild trader, this, that, the other. Plus, it takes, like, which I'm not, what's the word, an economist? So I don't necessarily understand why it makes sense for gold to invisibly disappear to the game. But like you said, from a developer standpoint, it just does.
I mean, I play games like Lortro and Star Wars The Old Republic, and Star Wars The Old Republic especially with that auction system. It was called the GTN, the Global Trade Network. And I watched the amount of, like, money that was sunk into these. There was so much inflation. Like, to the point where on that game, 1 million credits once used to be a lot of cash, and now it's just chump change.
Oof.
Yeah, it's like 1 million credits used to be a lot. Now it's chump change. So that should tell you just how high prices are. If 1 million is, like having like 100K.
Right.
It's it's definitely there to combat the inflation and stuff. Because if money is only being farmed and is only trading hands from players to players primarily, like there's very few sinks of like repairing your armor is not a gold sink. You barely pay anything for that, right? But if all the players are constantly getting money from doing various things and then they're only trading it to each other, the amount of wealth available in the world keeps growing and growing. The prices on everything grows and grows. Having a sink where you make that money disappear brings the wealth back down, brings inflation down, things like that.
Right, and obviously, like, you can't help inflation, because I know inflation on PC has just gone up incredibly in the last year, from my experience with that. But it's definitely not as bad as Old Republic.
It's so weird to talk about it, too, especially because I say this about our real-world economy, but especially in a video game where it's like, we can all just look around and go, hey, guys, we could just fix this by all just, agreeing to just, lower everything. But it has to be everybody, obviously. It has to be a group effort. Nobody can just be like, well, I'm special. No, you're not. You have to be like the rest of us. In order to solve this problem, everybody has to do it. But again, I'm not an economist, so I'm sure it's a little bit more complicated than that.
Probably a little bit.
Speaking of random items, if you're a new player, well, even if you're an old player, I know you might be thinking, what the hell are these treasure maps? If you're a new... if you're a new player, you call them treasure maps. If you're an older player, you call them a waste of space. Speaking of things you should sell, well, for the most part, so treasure maps used to be kind of special and kind of like fun, and it was actually hard to get them. Now it's funny, we talk about, driving down the value of something. Now treasure maps are virtually they're not worthless, because for some people, like crafters and stuff like that, they'll like buy up maps for 1K a piece to go after those valuable items and resources and stuff, especially the surveying stuff for crafting, which, yeah, again, a little bit of a crossover there when we get into crafting here in the next couple months. But if you're wondering what to do with them, they stack up quickly. I would try to see if you can maybe sell them. A lot of people just destroy them, because you'll use them for a while and just go everywhere and seek out that treasure until you realize that, oh my god, this is really tedious. Some are used for, I remember treasure maps were used for like Stonefalls, when Silks of the Sun gear was top notch, best in slot kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then people would use, they would buy up treasure maps for 1 to 2K or whatever it was, because on the off chance they got that, rare piece of gear that they could sell for a lot more. So that's how that used to go. I don't know if it's like that anymore. I don't know how many overland sets are like meta viable, but that could still be there. But yeah, especially if you're a new player, if you're wondering what those treasure maps are for, you will soon join the running joke like the rest of us, and you might use them for a while, but either sell them or destroy them is my advice. Did anybody have any comments on the treasure maps?
There are some that are definitely still worth stuff. Like I just sold one for 150K today for a High Isle map. So the newer the maps, they generally still sell. Deadlands and Blackwood, I think a little bit, but definitely like High Isle still sell.
Deadlands is still selling for over 100K. Now the reason those treasure maps sell for so much is, like, for High Isle, there's a chance to get an ancestral Breton motif, and for Deadlands, there's a chance to get an ancestral Daedric motif. So, like, the maps that can drop a motif lead are really what's really going to be spendy. Everything else is kind of just in terms of worth.
Yeah, and I'm definitely talking about
you can find some good stuff in there, but definitely the motif ones are the ones that sell for a lot if you're trying to sell them.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about the DLC treasure maps. I was mostly thinking about, like, the original Alliance Zone type stuff is mostly full of a lot of just random, not worthless. Again, it depends on your playstyle, depends on what you're going for. But you definitely notice that treasure maps stack up quickly. But definitely pay attention to what treasure maps you have before getting rid of them. Oh, yeah. Where do I want to go now? Let's go ahead and quickly talk about the screenshot feature, because this is something I didn't know existed. At least for console, I kind of figured PC players had something like that. But I always thought, like, wow, how are people getting those really nice, like clean, there's no HUD or anything. And if you guys want to chime in for PC, great. But I know that console, this is definitely useful. So go into your options and go to video, and right at the bottom, it says screenshot mode. And you just select that, and you can toggle nameplates by, or not. I love how it tells me I can toggle nameplates and it doesn't. Oh, maybe because there's no players by me. But then you press B, and you press B again to exit. So, and real quick, actually, no, I'll let you guys. Do you have anything to say on that first?
The screenshot?
Yeah, for PC.
PC, it's pretty simple. Either you keybind something, or a generally used screenshot key is print screen. Now, I know Quinn, myself, and a lot of other PC players just utilize the snip tool, because it will just let you paste whatever you're doing into the message on Discord. And that's what a lot of us use. Print screen is really so you can save it to your computer if you want.
Now, it's funny you say that, because so for console, we can actually post our screenshots straight to social media, specifically Instagram, which is how I post our Instagram stuff. But I think we might be able to do that for Discord here soon, since Discord is coming to Xbox.
It's a long time coming. I remember playing on Xbox like a year or so ago, and like, I need Discord. I need it. Like, Discord is my Facebook, honestly.
Well, because it'll be great, because that way, especially for us, it kind of unites our community a little bit. I know it'll eventually come for PlayStation, but Xbox is getting the love first. But it's like, oh, I can talk to, you and Quinn while we have some of our Xbox players on. Granted, we're still not able to play together, but we can still enjoy and experience things together.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be fun, because most of us gamers use Discord. Obviously, like, PC players can't join Xbox Party. I mean,
you can, but it's not
if they have the app. But the app, I hate working with, because it's a pain.
Yeah, it's not.
Something always goes wrong.
It's not the most friendly. Yeah, I don't care for it either. But
yeah, Discord is just something that everyone has.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for that. It got announced recently. The other thing, speaking of console, I don't know about PlayStation. There should be an optimization for this, because I believe it. I'm pretty sure it's not on the Xbox One, but Xbox Series X players get a graphics option. So we get to either prioritize fidelity or performance. And obviously I'm prioritizing performance, so I get that really nice, smooth animation just like the PC players get. So performance prioritizes frame rate over resolution, and vice versa, fidelity prioritizes resolution over frame rate. Again, I love that the game is still absolutely gorgeous even without prioritizing fidelity. Everything still moves. Well, I guess that's performance, but everything still looks really detailed and stuff. Like, you can see the flakes of mineral deposits on the rocks and all that, and the different root strands on the trees. Like, everything still looks really good and really sharp. But so that's why I'm just like, we're definitely going to be clicking that performance, because especially you really notice it in combat. When you have so much stuff going on your screen as a console player, that stuff can really bog down your play experience. And I actually played, I don't know if I played ESO, but I played something, played other games on my old console, like in the living room or something, and I'm like, oh my god, this is painful. Not only are the loading times extremely long, but I'm so slow. So, I just wanted to mention a couple of those things for console. We've got a couple more things, and then we'll roll into mid-year mayhem before closing out the show. So, Prologue Quests in the Crown Store will actually tell you where to go. We've talked about questing in the Questing Beast, and, it can be confusing, like, where do I go to start something? And if you go to, let me click over Crown Crates, you'll see Quest Starters. Here we go. So, if you scroll over something, let's go Immortal's Touch. On the right side, it actually shows... I guess it doesn't show you where to go. It shows you which prologue quest it's for. So if you're like me and you want to make sure you're getting everything done in a proper order, so you're hitting all those dialogue points, which I really wish I had finished out Mary Dominion because I didn't get to have that with Queen Irene. But honestly, it was kind of oddly cool. Like, Ernskar and Emmerich knew who I was, but not Irene, and I just something about that, like I know I guess I did a little bit of light spoilers, but it's been a month. it's been a month.
I mean, I first did it on a new character I was leveling because I'm like, oh, I'm leveling it, I'll just play through High Isle. So none of them knew who I was, so I planned to redo it on my main quester. That's met everyone, through like the main story and all the other stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that because, it's fun.
Yeah.
I love when stories tied together, like with the Dark Brotherhood with Blackwood, or any of the other time, and Hrothgar, or any of the other times the other expansions tied in with other zones.
Yeah, like it really gives you the feeling of, again, like the developers at ZeniMax actually care about story and making sure we're all feeling these amazing experiences. Like, I think I said it when, I think it was a couple episodes ago or whatever, but this, I don't even think it's just the fact that this is the latest iteration. I really truly feel that the final battle for High Isle was the most emotional I had felt, because, and again, I should be able to talk about it now, since we're now a month for console and even farther for PC players. But yes, we get to see all three of the Alliance leaders, except for Yoren, because he sent his son ahead, and they're all battling with you at the end. And it's like, this is so cool. I love the reason
that Yoren wasn't there, though. If you really talked, it's like, Yoren was just getting some.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
He's got a new girlfriend. He just wants to stay home with her.
No, so, you know what I love?
It's the most Yoren thing, because every other time you've ever talked to him, he doesn't really want to be king. He's just king because he's gotta be. Yeah,
no, what I love is when you talk to Ernskar about, God, what's her face from Western Skyrim, and he's like, what?
Svanna?
Yeah, he's like,
he's got like the biggest crush on her.
I know. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's preposterous. Oh my god.
But then you talk to him another time. He's like, oh my god, she's so cool. Oh my god.
And you know what? I wonder if that's kind of something where it was kind of a nod to like when we get to go back to Skyrim in the future.
Oh my god. Do you know what? I've had this conversation so many times where I'm like, this could be how they unite Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Svanna is open to it, but if they, like, both of them, like, have learned so much and grown past the people they used to be, so, and, like, kids crushing her, and I saw them, like, oh my god, is this how they're gonna unite the Skyrims?
What if it's their wedding, and it's crashed by the big bad?
I mean,
Zos, if you're listening, do it. Do it. It's so perfect, because I don't think we've had a wedding be a major thing for, like, I think we've seen weddings in Quest, but
we know how weddings go from Skyrim.
Yeah. So, but I don't think we've had like a wedding be the focus of a chapter. And I think that would just be so freaking cool where like, oh yeah, well, you've been out adventuring, you know, let's say it's like, you know, a couple years from now. So we've done other things in different chapters. And he's like, oh yeah, since we talked at High Isle or whatever, you know, me and Svanna got together and we decided it'd be best for our, you know, kingdoms to just unite and blah, blah, blah. And this is going to be our wedding. It's like, oh my God, yes, please.
You know, I would really like another Skyrim chapter, which is, you know, obviously hugely asked for since Skyrim is just huge nostalgia for many of us playing the game. I've met a few people who have never played Skyrim, and, you know, that's fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, for the rest of us, like, we want Whiterun, we want Dawnstar, we want all the others.
We want the College of Winterhold. And the thing that was with that is it's been rumored that Zos is planning on spell weaving. So if they are ever going to do spell weaving, it's going to be at the College of Winterhold.
Yeah. Not to dive too far into this rabbit hole that we have.
I know.
But we kind of just squirrel down the rabbit holes all the time.
Yes, no, it's fine. Like I said, I'm like, it's not gonna, you know, junk drawer episode, we've only got a few things, it's not gonna take much. Every time I say that, it's like, oh look, the show's over. But I'll try to hurry up through the last of it so you can get to what you wanted to talk about, Lainey. But it's just the simple thing of, yes, you know, Prologue Quest Ascending Doubt, this is the Prologue Quest for High Isle. Or actually, what is it? It shows Prologue. Okay, they're all Prologue quests. Somerset, I believe they should show the dungeons. Oh yeah, Prologue quest, or not dungeons, but it'll tell us like Prologue quest. The Ravenwatch Inquiry says this is the Prologue quest for Markarth. So it's always going to be the Prologue quest for the Zone DLC.
Yeah. And you can use Quinn's tip that he, you know, told us about earlier, which was just go to your journal where the quest is, click M, and it'll show you where to start the quest.
Yep. So you combine this with that, and you're good to go for your questing. So, all right. Finally, on my notes anyway, I know a lot of people have asked, and we're not going to talk about, like, all of the possible content, but a lot of people ask, like, how long does it take to complete content? Because I got curious, and I actually, when I believe it was when I started my tank, I think, or maybe it was when I did a piece. No, it was when I did my PC run. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to
It really depends on what you're doing it on, if you're doing it with anyone else. If they know, if they're, you know, experienced at doing it, it just relies on so many number of factors. What I always say when people ask me how long, as long as you want it to take.
Yes.
If you just kind of want to lay back and go a quest, like, go do that. You don't need to rush through everything. Just do it at your own pace.
Yeah, I completed all of Ebonheart. All the delves, everything. All the locations, all the side quests, everything. Spending about 5 to 8 hours almost every day for 3 weeks. That's a lot of content just for one Alliance zone. I mean, look how long it's taking me to do High Isle. Now, granted, I'm not, you know, grinding it out. I don't have the time like I used to. But that's the cool thing is especially at this point, there is so much content, there's no running out. Because by the time you finally get all of it done, they've released like 3 more chapters. It's been 3 years later, and you still have more to do. So, but I just want to give people, you know, especially when we're talking about like the Alliance stuff, a little bit of a heads up on roughly how much. I know, obviously, that's if you know everything. That's the most optimized timeline I can give you. If you know where to go, if you know what to do, you know where all the sky shards are, everything like this, it still took me like almost a month to do one Alliance quest. So
I do Litany of Blood from the Dark Brotherhood. You know the quest where you gotta find like those like different people in each zone and follow them around. So I've done it so many times, but I do it on all my Nightblades, and I have like 6 Nightblades. I can do it in 1 hour and 15 minutes now.
Damn.
Which is like both cool and also really sad, considering how many times I've done it.
Yeah, practice makes perfect.
Right.
So
I've had a lot of practice.
Quintus, did you have any more comments before we moved on?
Oh, I'm just taking notes because I'm surprised to hear there's PvE in this game.
I mean, what's a wolf gonna do, right?
Yeah, this is actually fascinating.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's funny. Right before we started recording, I was like, yeah, I just got to Void Die and Bastion Hollows or whatever, so I do some PvE.
I mean,
he dabbles.
You still kind of have to. No matter what side of the railroad tracks you're on, you still kind of have to cross over every now and again. It's like, oh, if I want, stuff for my skills, if I want to go get sky shards, I mean, the gold vendor, if I want gear for dungeons, I still have to go to Cyrodiil, Imperial City. I still have to go on the PvP side. And now with Tales of Tribute, obviously, that's straight up PvP. So, I mean, it's non-combat PvP, but it's still PvP. So...
I will hurt you, Marcus.
That's fine. Promise. Remember?
Yeah, not in a good way.
Remember what we were talking about? How the community is a little bit erotic sometimes.
And that brings us to our next section, which is safe words and how to use them.
Oh, yeah, please come back and do more with us, Quinn.
Oh my God, yes, please. In fact, I think I found our third co-host for the Drunken Horker. Oh, you talented.
That's how I wasn't even asked.
Sexy. Do you want to? You are going to show up. You are going to show up at least once because you are an ESO content creator. So yes, I mean, you're still showing up once whether you like it or not.
I don't know if I want to do it now since I wasn't asked specifically or especially.
I was getting there.
I mean, you asked Quinn before me, and you don't even know him.
Fine. Do you want to be on the Drunken Horker?
I'll have to think about it.
God damn it. All right, guys. We are getting a little late into this very awesome episode. So, Lainy, I'm going to hand the floor over to you. Talk to us a little bit about Midyear Mayhem before it gets here.
Okay, so Midyear Mayhem has been renamed to White Strikes Mayhem, but the only people who call it White Strikes Mayhem are probably the PvEers who are new to it. Because the rest of us have been calling it Midyear Mayhem for years.
White Strikes is just too hard to say.
Yeah, and it was still called Midyear Mayhem when it was biannual. So I don't really understand the name change. Although the funny thing was, it was normally in end of January and end of July. So, clearly in midyear. Or at least one of them was.
Yeah.
But as the name implies, it is mayhem. Absolute mayhem. It is a PvP event. And, I honestly really like it because PvP doesn't get a lot of events. Most of the events are PvE focused. There's even, the Daedric event, which focuses on, trials and whatnot. Now, Midyear Mayhem is chaos, especially if you are a PvEer trying to come in here. I will say, I have definitely never went into Imperial City and bombed a group of PvEers on my Nightblade. Never. Never.
Of course.
I need that Telvar, man. I don't just sit there farming, newer players all day, because I believe that in order to get people to stay and cause more population in our campaigns, which we want, you need to be nice. You need to show PvEers and newer PvPers how to do it, and a lot of them come back. And I found that it's kind of the old saying, you can attract more flies with honey than vinegar.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people be really toxic to these new people, and that doesn't get them to stay. What gets them to stay is when we show them the ropes and we're patient and we teach them what they need to know, and then they get to decide if they like it or not. So I found this list of tips and tricks, which I completely agree with. And the first one is don't be afraid of dying. It happens a lot. The PvPers, we die all the time. I died a lot of times tonight.
Speak for yourself. I've never died.
That's because you hide and steal.
Damn!
Quinn's just okay, shove a Daxi in front.
I'm gonna throw you under the proverbial bus.
I don't have to outrun AD. I just have to outrun you.
Or Akka. Me and Akka.
Or Akka. That's actually probably more accurate. Anyway.
It is. I mean, the other night we were out in a proc campaign. Quinn and I were ganking, and Akka was just the werewolf bait. People would jump on Akka. We killed him. It was really fun.
That's absolutely right. Dying is a part of any PvP game, and you should always, just like any game, lose gracefully and try to learn from it.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have a hard time with that, where I'm so afraid of just getting pummeled all the time. I mean, and I'm not new to PvP. I've done, my fair bit of share. You know what I mean. Yeah. I've done my fair bit. I've my fair share. There we go. That's what I was trying to say.
I think it is very important, though, to realize that dying happens. Like, even, like, the hardcore PvPers who are doing it, like, every day, we die. Quinn doesn't die as much because he makes Akka, die for him. But,
Die all the time.
Exactly. And, that's the point, is, like, it's easy to get upset if you just die a lot. But we're here to tell you that happens to the best of us and the rest of us all the time. So dying is just a part of PvP.
Yep.
And, you win some, you lose some. Like, there needs to be some balance there, too. Like, you don't just want to win all the time.
I mean, it's funny you say that because, okay, not gonna lie, I'm pulling at you. I'm actually playing a game of Tales of Tribute right now. But Saturday, I think I streamed Tales of Tribute in the afternoon. And it was brutal. Like...
Well, I think I saw your raginess in the Discord.
Oh, it was so painful because I'm busy trying to do like ranked, and I just kept losing, and I'm just like, this is so infuriating. It's one of those things where it's like, if I had just gotten that one card, or if I had just gotten a little like that one more gold coin, I could have won the entire game, or at least I would have had a fighting chance, but. Just sometimes it's not how it works.
Well, I mean, that is a game of luck, so.
If he had only gotten good. No, I'm just kidding.
Honestly,
sorry.
No, but like I think like that brings up a good point though, Quinn, that we jokingly say get good, but that is honestly the answer to getting better is get good. Like you work harder to, perfect your build, you practice, no one becomes like a really good PvPer just instantly. It takes a lot of work and practice. So that's really like what I say when I, joke around and say get good is like put in the work to get better.
Yeah, no, and you have to lose in order to figure out like what's gonna work. Like, okay, I'm not dodging enough, or I'm not. Well, it's like in this, I'm not paying attention to my opponent enough. I'm too into the weeds of my own strategy or whatever, and they just snuck up on me and took the game from me. So losing really sucks, especially if you're a older player, you've been playing the game for a long time. You should know. That's how I feel, I should know better. Why can't I get this? I've played it long enough.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree with that. And I think one of the other things I will bring up is proc campaigns. That is any campaign but Ravenwatch or any no CP campaign that they bring in for the event. If you are a warden, do not use your niche. There is a set called Plague Break that if you use that, and because it has a cleanse, and you have Plague Break on you and you cleanse it, you will blow up your group. Like it's like the Templar Purge or, the actual Purge skill. Like anything that cleanses, people try not to run them in proc campaigns because that set will blow up a group. You will blow up your own group.
Oh, lovely.
And your group will not be happy. I've been in groups where that happened, and I see just angry, like all caps, like who cleansed? It's really funny though. Let's see. Let me just go over this. I am.
While she's going over.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, while she's going over her notes, like, I obviously am biased. I love PvP in all forms in this game, and it is the reason I play this game. And I just think that, I think newer players, but not even just newer players, but people who've been playing maybe since beta and all they've done is raid and do PvE. They step into PvP and they get a bad taste in their mouth for a number of reasons, and I think that a lot of them are legit. I think, sometimes there are toxic players. Sometimes you do just get your butt kicked all night long on Tales of Tribute and then complain about it on a podcast. Sometimes you do. No, I'm okay, but like
that's brilliant.
You do have those nights.
So brilliant.
I think that for newer players coming in, first of all, I think the majority of the PvP community does want to help newer players and does want to be helpful. So zone chat can be the worst thing and best thing about PvP, because a lot of times if you ask for help, every time I've seen someone genuinely say in zone chat, "Hey, I'm new to PvP, can someone answer some questions or whatever?" You'll probably get flooded with DMs of people that are actually genuinely trying to help. So if you have questions about something, do it. I didn't know how to siege when I first got out into Cyrodiil, and the guild that I'm in now, the reason I'm there is because they sat down and was patient, like, here, we'll show you how to siege. They were all like emperors and former emperors and like people who've been PvPing since beta, but they sat down and showed me the ropes. So I think you're going to see a lot of that. So don't be afraid to sit down and ask questions whenever you need it, and and like Adexi said, prepare to lose and try to learn from those as best you can. And my other piece of advice that I give a lot of new players: start out tanky. Your PvE sets don't really have a place in PvP, at least not initially, for sure. Wear 2 tank sets. Play a full tank build if you want, and just try to stay alive. Slap Pariah on and something else, and play defensive. You can even do that and play a ranged build, so you're not even taking as much damage, just so you can learn the flow of PvP. I started out running all heavy tank builds when I first started playing, just to learn how to take a hit, how to survive. And as you start learning the flow of PvP, I'd like to do a little more damage, so you kind of back off there and go a little more damage. But just try out different things. Some things are going to work, some things aren't. But the more durable you make yourself, the longer you'll be able to last in a fight to try to assess what's going on. You'll learn when to dodge roll. You'll learn when to block, which, by the way, don't block so much, you PvEers. Dodge roll more.
If you see a ring of white around you, do block. Do block.
Yeah, that's one of those things. That's just one of those things you learn. My experience is a good teacher, not a kind one. But if it's something you genuinely want to be good at, there's lots of paths to get there, and there's a community of players that be more than happy to help you out. I've sat down with at least a couple dozen people in the last couple months that have just asked for help and just try to answer questions.
Yeah, and going off of your tankiness comments, PvP is all about burst damage. It's not so much the melting that you're gonna do to a boss. So, like, you've got to build defensive, make sure you make it through that burst. If you want to do damage, it's not going to be like PvE. And since these are other players and not, mechanics, do not stand in one place. You need to be mobile. Like, normally a lot of players like myself will run pickup groups during these events. So like if you get in one of those groups, like I normally try to answer a lot of questions. There's normally people who try to have a two to three more experienced players to help answer questions, so it's just not one person doing all of it. And so ask for help. I know I was running with Aka and Zip the other night, and we picked up a person who had never done PvP before. They were a big PvEer, and we sat down and helped them, and they're learning. And it's just that kind of thing. Like, it's okay to ask for help. Like Quinn said, most of the players are willing to help. Don't let a few bad apples spoil the bunch, because I know from what I've heard from my PvE friends, PvP players are toxic, and that may be true. I think anyone can be toxic, and I have seen anyone be toxic. But, just don't let a few bad apples spoil the fun. Most of the PvPers are willing to help, and because we want more people to play PvP, because we need more population.
Yeah, it's fun. Ask for groups, ask for help. If you really, really want to improve, just be open to unlearning all your PvE stuff and learning how the PvP side of it works. It might seem ridiculous to have 35k health, but like in PvP, that's kind of where we aim to be at a minimum on a lot of our characters. Things like that. So there's things like that just aren't intuitive, and you just kind of learn as you go. And some of those lessons are more painful than others.
That's very true. And, if you're on a resource, even if you're in a big group, you're going to see what we call tower humpers. It's about 2, 3, 4 people who will go into a tower and run around towers. Do not chase them, because they are meant to be tanky. They're meant to last. They normally do a lot of damage. They're going to be those really experienced PvPers. Even if you have a full group, they're probably still going to win because they know exactly what they're doing. They're going to play to that. So if you see a few people run up into a tower, don't chase.
Oh, the Zerg, really. Just stay wherever the action is. You see things on fire on the map, open your map, see what's on fire. Try to go where the fighting is. Ride the Zerg.
Oh, yeah. Ride the Zerg. Let's see. Oh, right. So if you want alliance point ticks, you do not have to be actively participating in capturing the keep or a resource point. You just need to be close enough to get the tick once it's, once the flags are flipped. Now, that being said, we love new players, so please help us. If you can't get there in time to help, that's fine. If you just want the tick. But if you're, actively there, like, we'll teach you how to siege. We'll put down siege for you. We'll teach you everything you need to know. All we ask is that you help out a little bit, because we like to teach people new things. We want people to learn. But you can't learn unless you're not trying it out. Experience is a very good teacher.
Yeah, I had a lot of people teaching me running around sieging keeps and stuff. And, before you know it, I'm busy paying attention to, what keeps are getting captured, kind of, probability guessing where a Zerg's going to go next, saying, hey, they're taking this keep. They're probably going to go over here. We should probably, since the bulk of the people are over here, we should go start, capturing closer to their stuff. This whole strategy thing. And before you know it, it's late morning. Not late enough to where everybody's like gone off the server. There's still a good like number of Ebonheart packed online. So I'm like single-handedly commanding Zergs. And it's the coolest feeling. I swear to God. You tell everybody we need to go here. You're at the keep, and all of a sudden this wave of people shows up. I'm like, oh shit, did I do that?
Yeah, a lot of people just want some direction. And don't be afraid to listen to direction, but a lot of people do. I'll never forget, I'd only been playing the game for a couple months, and I made that push for Emperor because I had no life at that point. And I got it, and suddenly people were asking me where to go, and I was like their adult, and I was like, I didn't sign up for this. I just wanted superpowers. But no, it is really fun to be able to give some shout outs and some direction and have everyone go places.
I think it's a great way to learn too, because I remember in one of my guilds, the way they did things when people amped is they passed crown to them, got them comfortable with leading the group, in the guild. And it was a great teaching experience, really. And, I used to actually lead this. I'll use the word newbies for PvP newbies back in a few years ago, and I named it Cannon Fodder. That's
PvP uninitiated, and you needed a frontline offense.
Right, and a lot of these PvEers, we don't all consider you cannon fodder, but it is nice to have the numbers because, each side normally gets a lot of pugs. And we, get fights all over, and, people are learning, and it's a lot of fun. Now, I will touch on one thing, which is when we were talking about wayshrines. When you queue up the Cyrodiil, which you'll do by pressing L and then going to the campaigns and picking the one you want, and then I'm not sure what it is for console, but that's what it is for PC. But you'll queue into your campaign. There's 2 gates that are neutral areas for your alliance. So Ebonheart Pact has 2, Aldmeri Dominion has 2, Daggerfall Covenant has 2, and those can only be accessed by people of your own faction. Now, don't use the wayshrines. That's how you leave.
Oh yeah. That's actually a good point. No.
Sorry.
I was gonna say you have to use the transit assist. Yeah.
Right. There's gonna be one in each keep and outpost, and there's gonna be one in the towns. There's gonna be one at each gate. And your transit assist lines, you can actually just look at the map and see where you can't. So each faction has 3, what we call home keeps or tri-keeps. And it's basically just the first, triangle of keeps, as the name implies. And then the middle ring of keeps is what we call the Emp ring. And that's how your faction gets Emp. And, we went over, how you get Emp. You have to have the most points, and your faction has to have the 6 inner keeps. So you can you can only transit as far as your alliance has. There are some things you can't transit this to because that transit line belongs to one of the other factions. But for the most part, you can transit almost anywhere.
As long as you have like you have control of that area. Yeah.
Like for example, the Emp ring. There are 3 outposts in that ring. For example, if one of the outposts is taken, you can't port to the next one through that line. Most of the time, you can get around to the other side if you guys have the whole ring. But if multiple outposts are taken, then you can't, and you're really limited to where you can transit this. But I run pug groups. I think Quinn might run pug groups. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I run some once in a while.
Yeah, like I love teaching new players. I think it's really fun, and I've seen a lot of them stay. And I think that's my favorite part, which is so rewarding, is when you teach someone how to PvP and help them and they stay. Because I've seen so many times where, there will be some of the quote unquote toxic players on and people are asking for help and they're being rude. And then, someone else comes in and takes them into the group or answers their questions. And, you see those people stick around because of the helpful people.
For sure. And for those of you that are still on the fence, let me just give one last pitch. Here's what PvP can offer you. It can offer you the hard road, frustration. It can offer you nights where you just feel like you can't win. However, it also offers you glorious nights where those hard-fought battles happen that are unpredictable because they're not mechanics from trials. They're not mechanics from raids. I'm not disparaging those playstyles. I think there's a lot of value to those as well. But the fights in PvP are often so unpredictable because you don't know who's going to show up. There's that tension of not knowing if reinforcements are about to arrive, how the fight will go, if your tactic will work, if your bomb will go off and you'll actually manage to take enough of them down to win the fight. And it becomes exhilarating. And for those of you that don't want the action, there's money to be made. Alliance points convert to gold very, very well. And there's lots of tips that we could give. I don't know if we necessarily get into this episode, but you can ask for, there's different ways to get more alliance points, and midyear mayhem's the perfect time. You double the amount of alliance points you get, which again you can convert to gold if you like. You can use, there's buff foods, buff potions, and delve buffs that you can get inside of Cyrodiil that can make the amount of alliance points you get just explode.
Midyear mayhem is the best time for alliance point farming.
Yeah, especially for those of you that haven't leveled up your alliance ranks yet to be able to get the skill lines leveled. You don't even have to play that long to get those leveled, but for those of you that just want to get that, just following the Zerg around for an evening will get you to level 10 on most of those things. Maybe not an evening, but it wouldn't take you very long into midyear mayhem to get it. But there's an appeal there no matter what kind of player you are. It's just a matter of finding if it's for you and finding what niche of PvP is for you.
I think that's, just really good advice. And, you can make a lot of, most of the way I make gold is through AP farming. I also have a hammer in my house, which costs like 2 million, but it's really cool.
That's how I make it. I spent about 800k AP today, and I put stuff up in the Guild Trader, and I've already made 1.5 mil off of it. I got some lucky stuff off of some boxes. You can make some really good money.
Yeah, I've got like 1 million alliance points, I think. I don't know. I haven't paid attention lately.
I mean, it's a good way. Like Dawn Prisms, which you can get at the War Researcher at one of the gates, are actually one of the best ways to make gold. And it's one of many.
It's one of the most consistent ways. You may not make crazy amounts of gold off of it, but it's one of the most consistent and fast ways to make
it. It is very consistent. And they only cost 100k AP each. So if you save up your AP and buy a bunch of them, like I've made a bit of gold. There's a bit of gold to be made, and it's very consistent, and they tend to sell a little faster than other items.
But really, you should be there for the glory.
Yes.
The glory, the fun, the learning, the challenge. That's why I do it, and I think that if you're the right kind of player with that mentality, I think it's the reason why you would do it too.
Excellent. Well, Lainy, do you have any more? I
think going off of what Quinn was saying, the unpredictability of PvP is one of the reasons I love it so much. Is, I'm not against some PvE, but I'm a person with ADHD, so I get bored, just doing things that are, more mechanic, that are set out a certain way. I love the unpredictability of PvP, and how, you know, you can. Now, granted, there's a lot of strategy that we all know because most of us PvP have been playing the game for so long. So there's only so much strategy, but I love, you know, the unpredictability. You're not sure if a Nightblade is hiding in the keep that you just took. And you may try as you might, but you may not find them because both.
Because both.
There's a Nightblade guild that Quinn and I are part of, and that's what they do, is they hide in keeps. And
Damn.
I've seen them keep a full Zerg in the keep for like an hour or so. I'm looking for just a couple Nightblades. Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll definitely, we'll definitely have Quinn back on here very soon in the next few weeks, because I believe on the list I have Tales from Cyrodiil stuff, where we, you know, just kind of all hang out and talk about, because, you know, you know, we're celebrating midyear Mayhem, so it's nice to be, you know, talking a lot of PvP here in the next several episodes. You know, we've got our PvP episode with Venus that we recorded like a month and a half back. You know, I'd like to
release that yet.
No, that's I believe on the 8th or whatever it is for patrons, and then later that Friday. So the week of the 8th. But yeah, definitely want to do a Tales from Cyrodiil and just all sit down and talk about our Cyrodiil experiences and what we faced. So.
Oh yeah, and you know, I think like obviously this event is obviously my favorite. Like, I prefer it to all the other events because PvP is what I enjoy doing the most. So I'm really looking forward to this event, and I'm very happy to help. If anyone has any questions, like, you guys know my game tag on PCNA, please send me a mail, and I will answer your questions the best I can.
And if you're not on EP, I'll be the friendliest guy to murder you that you'll meet.
Well,
that's true. I've seen Quinn really annoyed. He was still being polite.
Well, we are definitely this is the longest episode we've done yet, so that's it's awesome. So, but I'm currently boiling alive in my office. You know, it's like, I think it's like 90 degrees outside, and it's like 8 o'clock at night.
I live in the desert. I know exactly how it is.
Yeah. By the way, for anybody who's curious, I did win my Tales of Tribute game. I'm excited for that, and I'm currently on my second one. So, but we're gonna, Lainy, if you're okay with it, we're about an hour and 20 in. If we want to wrap up the show. What? It doesn't feel like it's that long. No, it really doesn't. It's awesome.
No, we literally talked about wayshrines for like 20 minutes.
It's very important.
I do just want to say this, and this is probably one of the last things I say. Oh. I think that Zos would be very proud of this podcast, if for no better reason. You may have a podcast here, and you put together an episode that is called The Junk Drawer, where you put the forgotten things that don't belong anywhere and that no one really pays attention to, and some people don't even care about, and you made sure you put the PvP stuff right in that episode. I think Zos would be pretty proud of that.
I think Zos would be pretty proud, given you know, the track record with that. But the thinking was, Quinn, since we had an extra episode, since I was originally going to be gone this week, that Marcus was going to do a Junk Drawer episode. I'm like, hey, why don't we take the end of it and make it the pre-Midyear Mayhem episode, since, you know, I'm going to be here. And, you know, I thought, you know, it'd be a good time to introduce Quinn before his werewolf episode or any other episode.
I was going to say at this point, yeah. Quinn's
but it was more of that. Like, it was our extra episode since, you know, I was originally supposed to be gone, but my thing got canceled. So
I think it's super appropriate. Just go ahead and throw the PvP in the junk drawer. I love it. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys ever want me back. I'll come back and make some silly jokes again.
I love it.
I'm have to get Quinn on like a legit PvP episode, because I'm never gonna hear the end of this.
Well, everyone, I'm for those of you who hung on this long, that's it for this episode of Legends Rise. Thank you all so much for joining us, and you know, special thanks to Quintus. I've really enjoyed having you on. I really enjoy doing more projects with you here in the future. I like the vibe. So from one funny person to another.
Do you want my spot on this podcast?
Will you marry me?
Let me ask my wife if I'm allowed. Hold up.
Okay.
If you're allowed to be on a podcast or marry Marcus?
Both. Yes.
Oh, both. Okay.
Oh.
Wait. If we're getting a new co-host, I want Cam Man instead.
Okay.
Cam Man's my cat. All right. Thanks you so much, Marcus. It's been fun to be here, man.
Yes. And remember, if you want more stuff, you can check out our Discord. Quintus, are you in there? Oh yeah, you are. We're recording it. It's hot in here. It's so hot in here in my office.
I live in the desert. Get ready.
My shorts are soaked through. TMI, I don't care. If you want more stuff, you can check out our Discord.
Safe word.
Once again, the links to those are on our Facebook and Twitter at Legends Rise ESO. Come be a part of the fun and make some new friends like Quinn here. And if you want more out of your experience, you can go to patreon.com/legendsriseeso and become a Legends Plus member. Music is Sons of Skyrim Epic Metal Remix, edited by me and performed by Brandon Strader, and you can find him on YouTube and Facebook at BESTRADER, that's Best Raider. Lainy, where can the fine folks find you at?
Well, as always, you can find me at Adexi the One-Eyed on PCNA. There is a dash between the E and 1 and the E and I'd. Spoiler alert, because Quinn is probably going to, just blast me all over the podcast right now. It's a fake eye.
And you can find me on Xbox at Everyone's Problem, spelled with a 0 and no E at the end. Come hang out with me on the North American server, or if you aren't up for ESO, come join us on Halo, COD, Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and a bunch of other stuff. Before we get out of here, Quintus, do you have anything you want to plug?
I have a YouTube channel. It's Quintessential Gaming. It has a very strong 5 people that watch it. So if you want to be the 6th, you can really impact that. No, I make videos for fun. If you're interested in werewolf stuff, especially, there's werewolf PvP videos and werewolf guides. That's not a plug. It's just if it would be useful to someone. Otherwise, you'll find me in Cyrodiil doing my best.
Awesome. And I think I'm on my way to winning this game as well, and that'll give me my last one for the daily. Oh look, they took the armory. I'm like, yay, the armory came up. Immediately takes it. Oh, I'm sad now.
Hey Quinn.
Yes.
You have 2,000 subscribers, and I thought you said there were 6.
I don't know how to count.
Blasphemy. What is that?
Schools did I never learned math.
What is that false effort? Well, I mean, American school system, so I totally understand. So, alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we will see you in Tamriel.